Good morning and happy Friday. It's the end of the week for those that are losing track of time. It's Friday already, and tomorrow it's Sabbath, and we're gonna be able to spend another great time through live streaming together. But for today, we have the second part of Desire of Ages, the chapter on the Sabbath, and reading the narrative from Mark 2:23 all the way to chapter 3, verse 12. Now, one before I mentioned the thing that impacted me more in this passage, I want to reiterate what was said as well, that the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. The Sabbath is there for us. The Sabbath is there for was there for, because we need it. And knowing that the Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath. Um, as Jesus looked around at the people that were questioning Jesus, perhaps ready to trap him, when he healed the man with the withered hand, they looked around. He looked around at them with anger, being grieved by the hardness of their hearts. Now, this is really unique. It's really rare, and I think it only has happened perhaps 3-4 times where Jesus is displaying this type of emotion, anger, a negative emotion for us, but Jesus is displaying it, and he's displaying it with unbelief of how other people act, other people were thinking, believed in, and ultimately were okay with the suffering of humanity before having a mindset of the grace of God. He was grieved. He was in unbelief. He was shocked by the hardness of the hearts of the leaders of his people. The people that turned to them to be able to get a glimpse of who God is. Yet they had been putting a burden on God's people. And as Jesus looked around and saw them, he was filled with he looked around at them with anger. Now, this is the big difference between false religion. True religion values man. False religion believes in foundational stuff before man. And that is the essence, I believe, of everything that God does. God has done everything in the scriptures that we talk about, even up to the cross, to save us, to bring betterment for us. And anything that we perhaps do as Christians is something that we need to have in mind as we minister to others, as we tell other people about Christ, is, are we helping them in their relationship with God? And especially on the Sabbath, we don't have, I want to say we don't have as much issues that we have as the Pharisees did, but ours is perhaps unspoken rules, like traditions that we still have, but that we perhaps don't say out loud. But the essence that what Jesus is talking about here in his address to the Pharisees is that you should value more man, my creation, and hope for them to stop suffering versus the obedience to the law. At the end of the day, the law was created for us to be able to live righteous, joyful lives here on earth. Without the law, we will be lost. There will be anarchy. We wouldn't know how to perhaps live a righteous life. But the law was there for our value. And now if we use the law to devalue mankind, or to devalue us, I think we'll come into contradiction to Jesus' fundamental principles. Not trying to take away from the law, not trying to take away from the cross, but together they're there to bring creation back to its original state. And that is to be close to God.